And there are some councillors, mayors, and reeves standing up for freedom. Let's hear it for those guys. And on occasion, we also get some good school trustees standing for freedom. So there are elected representatives that are standing up, but you know what? There's still a lot that aren't yet. However, I have hope for them. I'm one of these very hopeful, optimistic people. I like to remain very positive and hopeful. And the way I look at it is we are of like mind. We're like-minded here. We're on the same team. And the people out there who aren't yet with us are simply the not yet like-minded. That's all. They are not our enemies. They're not our enemies. Even if they criticize us, even if they put us down, even if they give us a hard time, even if they're driving through disrupting our rally. Let's give the RCMP a round of applause.
All right, buddy, see ya.
They are not our enemies. They are simply not yet like-minded. And so our job, your job, when you leave here, you have a mission, you have homework. I'm going to give you homework.
I'm going to stay streaming, just my buddy at home who's typing.
Put up your hands. Put up your hands. Oh, good. You guys have homework. 2 hands. You get double homework. Double for you. You have homework when you leave here. And your homework is this. With love, go and change some hearts and minds. With love. You're going to do it with love. You're going to go out there because the people who need to hear these messages, they're not here. So we have to perform something called outreach. And that means we have to go to them, okay, wherever they are. They're in coffee shops. They're in Walmarts. They're in the school. Some of you with your Vax Pass, we need you. We need you to get into those coffee shops and go sit down and with love, change some hearts and minds. You can share some of the messages that were shared here. Share some of the knowledge. Do outreach. Another thing you can do, of course, is reach out to someone in your own circle who you haven't spoken to for several months. How many of you have someone in your own family you haven't spoken to in months because they're in a different mindset? I'd like to remind you, they are not your enemy. Even if they've criticized you and said, I don't agree with you, and they've put you down, they are not your enemy. Even Jesus himself said, Lord, forgive them. They don't know what they do. They are simply not yet like-minded, and we have a responsibility to change that with love. How many of you are going to go do your homework this week? Changing hearts and minds. Our next presenter is Jody Ledgerwood. Who's heard of her so far? Have you heard of Jody yet? Yes, some of you have. Well, you're going to learn more about Jody and Jody's work and what she's been up to. Can you guys please give Jody Ledgerwood a big round of applause?
Hello, Freedom Fighters! Hello, truckers! Thank you for being here, guys. We have a very important job, and that job is to support our truckers who support us. And I want you to know, I just saw a posting that what we're doing here is working because the Ottawa mayor has called on the feds to appoint a mediator to listen to us! That's right! We are working, the light is seeping through the foundation cracks. Keep up the good work, guys. I love it. Now, I've been sent down here to give you guys some information. And I know we've had a lot of information from the speakers beforehand, but this is really good information that's going to help you and our truckers not be afraid, okay? We had a lot of stuff go on last night. Police were stealing jerry cans. They weren't allowing protesters to help our truckers. They're stopping food supplies from coming up, but that's okay. We got this. Because you know what happened when they did that at Coventry Lane? We had 100 people show up with jerry cans, more jerry cans than the police took away. That's right. And today, walking up here, all the water bottle jerry cans I saw were so encouraging. You guys are thinking out of the box, and I love it. Thank you, thank you. Now, we had a meeting this morning. The Democracy Fund lawyers were in our offices. And guess what, guys? If anybody gets a ticket for protesting down here, whether you be a trucker or a civilian, the Democracy Fund lawyers are going to help you for free! Yeah, free! That's right. We got a lot of people loving you guys, loving what you're doing, and the support is incredible. So I'm going to read out, I actually made notes. I don't normally bring notes with me, but I did today to make sure I got it all in. So if you go to the truckerlaw.ca, that's where you can get help for free if you get a ticket for helping the truckers. Okay, guys? So truckerlaw.ca. And if you want to donate to the Democracy Fund, because they are doing all of this help for free, and it doesn't matter if they get 1,000 requests for representation, they are doing it for free. So if you want to donate to them, you can donate at democracyfund.ca. Also, I don't know if you know this or not, but there's a really big organization called adoptatrucker.ca that is helping these truckers. We're feeding them. We're getting them the help they need. They're getting medical care twice a week. They are getting jerry cans. They're getting warmth. They're getting showers. They're getting porta potties. They even got saunas down at Coventry Lane. That's right, because we want our guys to be comfortable while they're here. So if you want to help, donate to that fund. And guys, the fund is on a Christian site that takes 0 fees. It's not on a GoFundMe where they take a bunch of your money or where they shut you down because the government asked you to. This Christian site takes 0 fees. So every dollar you donate goes to helping a trucker down here. If you want to donate, you go to adopt-a-trucker.ca. And if you've taken any footage down here, we're putting together a documentary and we were spilling that footage out worldwide to the world. So if you want to donate your footage, go to Ottawa 2022 at yahoo.com and send your footage. Be part of this documentary that's making world history. That's a lot. So guys, I also wanted to let you know you do have rights. And for those of you who know who I am, who have gone to the GameOnCanada.org to pull off your legal rights, the documentation, and it's still there. You can download it for free. I've done all the homework. I'm helping you all stand in your square and say the 4 most important words right now, which are, I do not consent. Okay? If you need help doing that, go to GameOnCanada.org and pull off the Your Rights package from there. Like I said, I've done all the homework. I've highlighted all the laws, the relevant sections to help you guys out. Because what we're doing here is not against the law. What we're doing here is allowed. We are protecting our inalienable rights. We are protecting our freedom. And freedom is not a privilege. It is a right you are born with. And we've got a lot of laws on the books that help protect what we were born inalienably allowed to do. So we have what's called the Canadian Bill of Rights, Canadian Bill of Rights, and that Canadian Bill of Rights protects your right to life, liberty, security of person, and property. Security of person is your health. We have the right to protect our health. We have a couple of privacy acts, one being the Freedom of Information and Privacy Protection Act that protects your ability not to share your health information with anybody. We also have what's called a Genetic Non-Discrimination Act of 2017, which was upheld in the courts in June 2020. The Supreme Court of Canada endorsed it. Therefore, if you don't want to take testing to have a job, you don't have to. And nobody, if you decide to take testing, nobody has the right to ask you for the results of those testing in order to keep a job. And anybody who asks you for your health information in exchange for a contract or a service is breaking the law. It's called extortion under the criminal code. So you can have these people charged with extortion under the criminal code. Your right to privacy is guaranteed under the law. Your own spouse can't get that information from your doctor. So what gives a restaurant owner or a waitress or a steward the right to ask you for that information? They don't have the right. You have the right to your own autonomy and to your own freedom of information and health care. As well, these mandatory vaccinations that our employers are asking us to do in order to keep our jobs are 100% illegal. Okay, we have something called the Healthcare Consent Act. You do not have to consent to any medical practice in order to have a job. And under that Healthcare Consent Act, you also have to be given informed consent before saying yes to anything. And that informed consent means saying yes without coercion. So an employer telling you you have to participate in a medical experiment to keep your job is not informed consent, and it is not voluntary. Being told in order to keep your job is actually coercion, okay? It's harassment and it's coercion. Both are indictable offenses under the criminal code. So any employer who is demanding that their employees take part in this medical experiment is breaking the law. And it is up to each and every single one of you to hold them accountable. And I'm going to tell you something else. The unions are not on your side. Follow the money. They're making a crap ton of money off these vaccinations, okay, guys? So, I know everybody's saying, but I have a union, and the union is saying I have to go through arbitration if I don't want to have this done. Guess what? Yes, to sue your company, you have to go through arbitration. But to sue the individual who is the one actually violating your rights, you don't have to go through arbitration. You can get yourself a lawyer. You can go down to the courthouse. You can press charges criminally. If your employer said to punch every person who walked through that door with a red coat on in the face, would you do it? Probably not. You know why? Because that's called assault. And if you did it, you'd be brought up on criminal charges, not your employer. Am I correct? Yes. So do you think that your manager, your supervisor, asking you or demanding of you to take part in a medical experiment in order to keep your job, is that not the same thing? Is that not assault? When someone asks you to do something you're not willing to do, or forces you to do something on your own person and body, that is assault under the criminal code. Okay? So all of these mandates are assault and extortion under the criminal code. And the whole reason why the government has not actually legislated it is because we have a constitution and we have an Immunization Act of 1997 that says they cannot make you get an immunization for any reason. It is protected right under the law in Canada. Hence, the reason why your employers cannot demand it. Under the Canadian Bill of Rights, they cannot obligate outside of the law. It is against the law to do so. So a mandate and a policy means nothing unless you consent to it. Hence, the four most important words you need to know right now are, I do not consent. Say it. I do not consent. Teach that to your children. It is so important. You guys need to know it, and you need to teach it to your children, teach it to your family, teach it to your friends. Again, GameOnCanada.org. You can go there, and download all of this information. I've got it there. It's the legislation. I've highlighted it for you. So you don't have to take my word for it. I've highlighted it. It's the law that I'm telling you. And the law wants to protect you. We have so many laws in Canada right now that protect us, and we don't even know it, and we don't even use it. And that's why we've gone down the rabbit hole as far as we have. So it's up to each and every single one of you to be leaders in your community and to share the information, to educate yourself. And you don't, if you're reading something and you don't understand it, I've got a Zoom video up there too that helps describe how to do this and what it all means. And if you still are having problems, send me a text. I will answer your text messages or call me. Don't send me an email. Don't send me an Instagram message, because you're probably not going to get answered because I'm so far behind on those. Okay? But send me a text or call me, 905-269-7653. It's out there. It's published. You Google my name, it comes up. So I'm really, really easy to find if you're having issues, okay? The other thing you guys need to know is you don't need to be afraid to be here. You don't need to be afraid to protest. As long as you are doing it peacefully and respectfully, you are not breaking the law. So this wonderful mandate that came down last night saying, if you're delivering food or jerry cans to the truckers, we're going to arrest you. Well, they can't. There is no criminal code charge on the books for delivering food and gas to your fellow Canadian. It is not against the law, okay? And if an officer approaches you, you have the right to walk away. You do not have to talk to any officer, bylaw, or inspector that approaches you. You have the right to walk away. You have the right to ask, am I being detained or am I under arrest? If the answer is no, walk away. We have a thing called, I have the right to remain silent. Use it. Please use it, okay? You also have the right not to incriminate yourself. So if you are being questioned, zip it. You do not have to incriminate yourself. You do not have to offer any information to these officers. Be quiet. Don't talk. Even if it's the truth and being honest from the heart, don't talk. Because we know that people edit things to incriminate you. So don't talk. You have that right to remain silent. Ask, am I being detained or arrested? If not, bid the officer a good day and walk away. Okay? It is not against the law to do so. If the officer does say, yes, you're being arrested, that is the only time, unless you're behind the wheel of a vehicle, that you have to present your ID. You do not have to tell them your name. You do not have to tell them your address. Only if you're being arrested or behind the wheel of a vehicle do you have to identify yourself. Again, good day, officer, and walk away. Got it? Do not incriminate yourself. If they do say you're under arrest, give them your ID. Don't get yourself into more trouble by failure to identify yourself under arrest. Give them your ID and then immediately ask for a lawyer, because you do not have to speak to an officer unless you have a lawyer present or unless you have immunity. So, again, if you feel like talking to an officer, ask for immunity
Jane, she's
first.
wrong about that?
Because you have the right not to incriminate yourself. Or ask to have your lawyer present. Because again, you have the right not to incriminate yourself. Okay? So please understand that and know it. You, as long as you're peaceful and you're respectful and you come with love in your heart and you're not breaking any laws, and being here peacefully protesting is a law that is protected under the Canadian Bill of Rights, okay? So you're not breaking any laws. You are here serving the truckers who are serving you. So please, don't be afraid. Stand in your square. I do not consent. You have the right to remain silent, and you have the right not to incriminate yourself. And feeding your fellow Canadian or supplying them with gas in their gas tanks to keep them warm is nothing but a humanitarian act, which is not against the law. that's all I got to say to you right now. If you have any questions, gameoncanada.org or text me 905-269-7653. Enjoy your day. Come with love, come with peace, and hug your neighboring fellow protesters. Love you all.
What she said. Hug your neighbor right now. Hug your neighbor. Here, we'll give you some hugging music.